It's 5:30 a.m. A loud alarm breaks the silence of the night. A 17-year-old Rajesh wakes up, rubs his eyes and hurries to his study table. And as he sits down on his chair, he can hear the voice of his parents and relatives echoing in his head. Just do your 12th exams well and life will be great. It seems like a similar quote he had heard 2 years ago when he was practicing for his 10th grade exams. But he snaps out of it. As a single light bulb in his study room illuminates the entire house, Rajesh digs into his textbooks and notes with the hope to qualify for his graduation exams. In reality, there are 50 other houses in the same neighborhood, all of them dimly lit with that single light bulb. See, Rajesh was a topper at school. He'll even qualify for his 12th grade exams to join the prestigious National Institute of Technology. But Rajesh will invariably hear this phrase after his graduation. Beta bas masters kar lo, life set hai. Or in English, just this one more degree and life will be great. Rajesh could be any of us sitting here. I come from a family of overachievers. Doing well in education is important, beta, was misunderstood as you have to stand first in all exams. And I did. I excelled in my school and college exams. I went to the top medical institutions for post-graduation and undergraduation. I made newspaper headlines. I presented research in great conferences. Today, I practice as an orthopedic surgeon, performing complex surgeries. So in the eyes of society, I'm a winner, acing all my exams and no interruptions in my educational career. And with my head held high, I landed in the perfect situation where I could choose any of the options I wanted for my career. This is how my mind was doing the evaluation. First, I am an awesome surgeon. I'll take up any government job I want. But will it pay adequately? Is it going to be laid back? Okay, not that. I am an awesome surgeon. I'll take up any private corporate job. But will there be layoffs? Will there be ethical dilemmas? All right, no, back to square one. I am an awesome surgeon. I will have my own clinic. Hey, that's a business. I don't have business skills. So you see, the more choice that you're offered, the more you actually question yourself. You've done everything right, but you still don't have the right answer. So let me ask you, what do we call the winner of a rat race? He or she is called the best rat. So in this excruciating journey of education, we learn how to run fast, but not what to run towards or why we're running in the first place. Repetitive lifestyles, predetermined paths seem comforting, but new choices seem difficult. Fear, inhibition, indecisiveness seems to take over. The result? We end up taking up jobs that we're clearly not a good fit for. We even fail to fight for a higher pay, and we're always fearful about losing our job. Does this seem familiar? I discovered that the problem with winners is that they simply stop winning. You give them a task and they'll get you the desired outcome every time. But they don't actually choose their own challenges or actively chase their wins. And finally, despite winning in the system, when they realize that their limited skill set is inadequate for the real life, it leads to confusion. They become defensive and insecure. It leads to what we call as a fixed mindset, where it's more important to appear smart than to actually put our energy into learning. And if you have ever faced this situation of uncertainty or confusion, let me assure you that you are not alone. And there is a way to approach and conquer this, a way to return to your former glory. Here's how you can go about it. Step 1, connect. I'm in Goa today. At the beach, I'd be excited, jumping around, sipping a martini. But here, I'm formally dressed and composed. Same person, different behaviors. See, networking is beautiful because it appeals to our deeper identity. We human beings are social creatures and we thrive on social support. But just like the Goa examples, that same concept goes for social media too. It's like choosing what outfit to wear. On LinkedIn, You're wearing a crisp suit against a classy backdrop and you're sharing your success. But on Instagram, you're dressed down and it's all casual, sprinkled with YOLO, FOMO, and any other four-lettered abbreviations going on. So understanding this, I began approaching these academically successful people my age on a professional platform like LinkedIn, and then tried to get their phone number or Instagram handle to actually start a conversation there. Because I wasn't looking for any gurus. I was looking for a friend who could understand my situation and help me navigate through it. And the shift in conversational tone just by switching the application was astonishing. It was as if a mask had been taken off. So just by the simple act of connecting authentically, I understood that we can genuinely exchange value. And understand this, the lesson here is that any meaningful connection thrives on genuine value exchange. Give value and you will receive it back tenfold. So the next obvious step I understood after connecting with these new individuals was to upskill myself. See, true education actually begins when a degree finishes. There was this fascinating survey by the Indian Express, and they followed the national toppers of the 10th and 12th grade exams for the past 20 years to see how their lives had unfolded. Almost all of these people understood that they were severely underprepared for what work was expected out of them. Some of them even crumpled under the pressure and took up average jobs. But around 50% of these people who attained significant success had actually moved to the US or other countries to work in engineering, medicine, finance, consulting. But what caught my attention though was how these winners described the difference in learning in their new environments. Because as opposed to the exam-focused routine in India, which they excelled in, their new environments actually encouraged and rewarded creative thinking, problem solving, adaptability. See, you are still expected to be well knowledgeable over there, but you are also expected to be good communicators, good leaders, and lifelong learners. The post-pandemic market disruption has forced all of us to move to an era where most money is spent not on some goods or services, but on value addition. So let me describe your typical Instagram feed. One generic photo of a friend, one not so interesting food reel, 2 product ads, and then out of nowhere there's this guy jumps out and say, wait, stop scrolling. Did you know that you could save 50,000 rupees in taxes just by following these 3 simple steps? Join our 2-hour tax masterclass to know more. So you see, skills like communication, content creation, investment strategies, and a ton of others are available online at negligible prices, and constantly upskilling ourselves based on our requirements is the only way to improve productivity and stay ahead. There was a recent report from Deloitte which suggested that any skill we acquire today would be irrelevant in the next 5 years, and that's a short half-life. So you start by identifying your current skill level and the gaps that you need to bridge to meet market requirements. You prioritize these skills and make a time-based action plan as to how you want to acquire them. Choose the right mentor based on reviews and results. And finally, take advice not just from people who are close to you, but from people who are close to your goals. So these were the first 2 steps: to connect and to upskill. In the famous T20 cricket match last year between India and Pakistan, we needed 48 runs of just 3 overs. The odds were stacked 90% for India's loss. But Virat Kohli did the impossible that day. What helped him was not his knowledge or skills. Every other player on the pitch had that. It was this drastically different mindset and the belief in his ability to fight till the end. So let's talk about reinvention. When Cristiano Ronaldo at 39 years of age feels that he can still improve his skills, it's kind of inspiring, but it's also odd. How is it that a person who's 39 with 900 goals and 30 major trophies still believe he can still win further? Or is it possible that it is this thinking that is the reason for all of his success? See, Ronaldo embraces his failures as learning opportunities. And he constantly steps out of his comfort zone in his quest for self-improvement, of course. And by consistently repeating this process, at every challenge, true winners will evolve and reinvent themselves over time. And this, my friends, is called the growth mindset. And armed with the power of your new connections and skills, it's time for step 3, to reinvent yourself. It's time to challenge your traditional beliefs, to clarify your purpose, and to rediscover your confidence. And I always tell my mentees that reinvention is not just starting from zero. It's already building on the foundation that you worked so hard for. And reinvention is especially important for those of us who strived hard and did well in the system, but we are at risk of stagnating after a point. People with fixed mindsets are only worried about validating and proving themselves. Adapt a growth mindset and you will grow. Congratulations, you now have the psyche and the tools to win. But not so fast. This is where you meet your final enemy or the final boss. This is called the intention action gap. Look at this slide. So, in the world with decreasing attention spans, instant gratification is the king. You know what course you should take and how it will help you. But then you arrive at this decision to binge watch the latest and greatest show on Netflix. You just attended a time management webinar and then you wish to plan your day better. Suddenly you get a call from your friend to attend a party tonight. How could you be the uncool member of the gang? So you see, we often intend to choose the right option, but something about the environment or the action itself prevents us from carrying it out, and that leads us to step 4, to execute. The key central measure, and it's been repeated over many talks, to any success or greatness is discipline. And while this may seem the most repeated and the most difficult thing of them all, by logic it's the easiest. Surprised? Let me explain. Introducing the to-do list. Yes, the old and unnoticed, boring to-do list. The little David to this Goliath problem and the answer to the discipline conundrum. Do you realize how we used to take pride in achieving goals set by a curriculum or a boss? Why not use that to our advantage? Because of our emotional framework, following these lists is actually more easy than we assume. Making them is the real challenge. So how do we make it easier? So you start off by making the night before. You start the list that you make the night before. A Forbes review recently suggested that we don't have more than 3 tasks in our daily to-do list. And finally, by simply creating a small roadmap for each of these tasks, it significantly increases the odds of completing that tasks. So I'm a medical man and I love to find a cure for everything. So I found this 4-step cure process very important for the winner problem. CURE. Make meaningful connections. Constantly upskill. Adapt a growth mindset and reinvent yourself. And finally, execute what you've learned with discipline. Now it's important to realize and understand that not all who have won in the system have failed. There is generally a point in their lives when these winners introspect and decide to do something greater than the next correct thing according to societal rules. So after your next win or your next degree, if you find yourself facing the winner problem, understand that choice is a luxury, but only for those who believe that winning is a continuous process, regardless of the choice we make. So let's unmask what real winning means. Let's have better discussions and fewer regrets. And that, I feel, is an idea that's worth sharing. Thank you for your time.